In the heart of downtown Chicago, where skyscrapers touch the clouds and millions of stories unfold every day, there exists a universal truth that has destroyed countless relationships: the deadly combination of silence and assumption. According to relationship psychologists, nearly 65% of conflicts in engaged couples arise from miscommunication. What you're about to hear is a story that reflects the reality of modern relationships, where a single moment of silence can change everything forever. Ethan sat in his office cubicle at Sterling Financial Group, fingers flying across the keyboard as he worked on the quarterly report. His colleague, Jessica, approached his desk with a worried expression. "Ethan, we have an emergency meeting with the regional manager. He wants the presentation finalized by tomorrow morning," Jessica said, her voice tense. Ethan glanced at his watch. It was already 6 p.m., and he had promised his fiancée, Aliyah, that he would be home early. Their wedding was just 2 months away. "But Jess, I promised Aliyah I'd be home early tonight," Ethan began. "Please, Ethan, this promotion means everything to me. Just 2 hours. We can work at the Starbucks down the street. I really need your expertise on the financial projections." Reluctantly, Ethan agreed. He quickly sent a text to Aliyah. "Office emergency. We'll be late." "I'm sorry, baby." What Ethan didn't know was that fate had set the stage for a misunderstanding that would shake the foundation of his relationship. Aliyah had just finished her shift at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, where she worked as a pediatric nurse. She decided to surprise Ethan with his favorite deep dish pizza from Lou Malnati's. As she walked down Michigan Avenue, she suddenly stopped dead in her tracks. There, through the windows of the upscale Starbucks, sat Ethan laughing, leaning close to a beautiful blonde woman. Jessica was showing him something on her laptop, and at that exact moment, she playfully touched his arm while laughing. They looked comfortable together, intimate. Aliyah's heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Her hands trembled, and the pizza box nearly slipped from her grasp. All the insecurities she had buried came rushing to the surface. Ethan was handsome, successful, charming, and she had always wondered if she was truly enough for him. Without a second thought, she turned and walked away, tears streaming down her face as the cold Chicago wind cut through her scrubs. When Ethan returned home at 10 p.m., exhausted but satisfied with completing the presentation, he found Aliyah sitting in the dark living room. The pizza sat untouched on the kitchen counter, cold and forgotten. "Aliyah, I'm home. I'm so sorry for being late." "Who was she?" Aliyah's voice cut through the darkness like a knife. "Who?" Ethan asked, genuinely confused. "That woman. At Starbucks with you. Looking so happy, so cozy, touching you. And you didn't even tell me you were with another woman." Aliyah's voice rose with each word, years of self-doubt pouring out. "You don't love me anymore. You found someone else before we're even married. Am I not good enough? Not pretty enough? Not smart enough for your corporate world?" Ethan stood there, stunned. He had worked tirelessly for hours, all while thinking about their future together. And now, instead of understanding, he was being accused of betrayal. The old Ethan, the one who always explained everything, who always tried to make peace, he wanted to speak. But something broke inside him that night. "I don't want to say anything," Ethan said quietly. "What? You won't even talk to me? That's your answer?" Aliyah's voice cracked. "I have nothing to say," Ethan repeated, his voice devoid of emotion. And then, he did something that shocked Aliyah. He picked up his car keys, grabbed his jacket, and walked toward the door. "Ethan, where are you going? Stop. Talk to me." But Ethan didn't turn back. He simply walked out, leaving Aliyah standing in the doorway, her heart breaking with every step he took. 3 agonizing days passed. Ethan stayed at his best friend Tyler's apartment. He went to work, completed his tasks mechanically, and returned to his temporary refuge. His phone rang constantly, Aliyah's calls, her messages, her desperate voicemails. But he didn't respond to a single one. Aliyah was falling apart. She went to the hospital but couldn't focus. She looked at the engagement ring on her finger, the diamond Ethan had saved months to buy, and cried until she had no tears left. She had made a terrible mistake. She knew it now. But how could she fix it when Ethan wouldn't even talk to her? On the 4th day, something unexpected happened. Aliyah's best friend, Jasmine, couldn't bear to see her in such agony anymore. "Girl, you can't keep crying yourself to death. Come with me. We're going to Ethan's office to find out the truth." At first, Aliyah refused, but Jasmine was persistent. Finally, with swollen eyes and a heavy heart, Aliyah agreed. They reached Sterling Financial Group at 3 p.m. At the reception desk, Jasmine asked about Ethan, and the receptionist smiled warmly. "Ethan, oh, he's amazing. Just the other day, he and Jessica stayed late, working on this huge presentation. The boss gave them both major recognition. Jessica even got promoted. Jessica. Who's Jessica? Jasmine asked. Jessica Malik. She's our senior financial analyst now. She was so happy about the promotion that she brought in cupcakes for everyone. She kept saying Ethan was the reason she got it, that he helped her polish the presentation perfectly. Aaliyah felt the ground shift beneath her feet. Just then, Jessica emerged from the elevator, talking on her phone, wearing a sharp business suit. That's her, Aaliyah whispered to Jasmine. Gathering all her courage, Aaliyah approached her. Excuse me, are you Jessica? Yes, I am. Can I help you? Jessica smiled politely. I'm Aaliyah, Ethan's fiancée. Jessica's face lit up with genuine warmth. Aaliyah, oh my God, Ethan talks about you all the time. He's so proud of you. Actually, I've been meaning to ask him to bring you to my engagement party next month. My fiancé David is flying in from Seattle, and I'd love for you both to be there. The words hit Aaliyah like a physical blow. Engagement. You're engaged. Yes, getting married in December. Ethan has been such an amazing colleague and friend. He spent hours helping me perfect my presentation. I honestly don't think I would have gotten the promotion without his help. He's such a good guy. You're really lucky. Aaliyah couldn't breathe. What had she done? Aaliyah returned home that evening, her world completely shattered, but this time for a different reason. The man she loved, who had always stood by her, who had worked late to help a colleague achieve her dreams, had been accused of betrayal by the woman he was planning to marry. And when he tried to walk away from the toxic argument, when he chose silence over fighting, she had let him go without giving him even a chance to explain. The apartment felt emptier than ever. Every corner reminded her of Ethan, his sweatshirt on the couch, his favorite mug in the sink, their engagement photo at Navy Pier. She sat on the bedroom floor, surrounded by wedding magazines, and finally understood the devastating depth of her mistake. Ethan hadn't left because he was guilty. He had left because he was hurt beyond words. She had chosen doubt over trust, assumption over communication, fear over faith. Her life had become truly desolate, not because he was gone, but because she had driven him away with her own insecurities. The next morning, Aaliyah went to Tyler's apartment. She would beg, cry, do whatever it took to bring Ethan back. But when Tyler opened the door, his expression was somber. Aaliyah, Ethan isn't here. Where is he? Please, Tyler, I need to see him. Tyler hesitated. He's at O'Hare. His company is sending him to Singapore. Emergency posting. His flight leaves at 4 p.m. Aaliyah looked at her phone. It was 2:30 p.m. Without another word, she ran to her car. The traffic on the Kennedy Expressway was a nightmare. Every red light felt like an eternity. Aaliyah's hands gripped the steering wheel, her entire body shaking. She reached O'Hare at 3:50 p.m., abandoned her car, and ran inside the terminal. At the information screen, she frantically searched for Singapore flights. Gate K12. Boarding now. Final call. She ran like never before, her sneakers pounding the floor, tears streaming down her face. When she reached Gate K12, she saw him. Ethan stood at the end of the boarding line, his carry-on over his shoulder, his face expressionless. Ethan, she screamed. He turned slowly, and their eyes met across the crowded space. The line moved forward, but Ethan stood still. Aaliyah ran to him, nearly collapsing, breathless and crying. Ethan, please forgive me. I'm such an idiot. I doubted you. I didn't give you a chance to explain. I destroyed everything. Ethan's jaw tightened. Aaliyah, you didn't trust me. After 3 years together, you assumed the worst without even asking for my side. I know, and that's why my life has become empty without you. Without you, everything is desolate and meaningless. Please, give me one chance. Just one. The final boarding announcement echoed through the terminal. Ethan looked at his boarding pass, then at Aaliyah's tear-stained face. Aaliyah, some things, once broken, can't be put back together the same way. Please, she whispered, falling to her knees right there in the airport. I can't live without you. Ethan stood there for what felt like an eternity. The other passengers had boarded. The gate agent called his name one final time. Then, slowly, Ethan extended his hand toward Aaliyah. She looked up, hope flickering in her eyes. One condition, Ethan said softly. No matter what happens, we never stay silent. We talk, we communicate, we trust each other before we trust our fears. Can you promise me that? Aaliyah grabbed his hand and stood up, nodding vigorously. I promise, always, forever. Ethan handed his boarding pass back to the gate agent. I'm not getting on that flight. Cancel my seat. As they walked out of the airport together, hand in hand, both crying, Aaliyah learned the most valuable lesson of her life. In love, silence is not always golden. Communication is everything. Trust is not given once, it's chosen every single day. 3 months later, Ethan and Aliyah stood at the altar at the Chicago Botanic Garden. In their vows, they promised to always choose conversation over silence, trust over doubt, and understanding over assumption. Jessica attended with her fiancé David, happy to see the couple she had inadvertently brought to the brink, now stronger than ever. And every year on their anniversary, Ethan and Aliyah returned to O'Hare Airport, Gate K-12, to remember the day they almost lost everything, and the choice that saved their love. The lesson: in today's fast-paced world, we often forget the fundamental pillars of any strong relationship: communication, trust, and the courage to speak rather than assume. Aliyah's story teaches us critical lessons. First, insecurity left unchecked can poison even the strongest love. Second, what we see with our eyes isn't always the full story. Context matters. Third, silence in conflict isn't strength. It's often a sign of deep hurt. Most importantly, assumptions are relationship killers. When we see something troubling, we owe our partners the respect of asking for their perspective before jumping to conclusions. Trust isn't just a feeling, it's a daily choice to believe in your partner's character, especially when circumstances suggest otherwise. Ethan's silence was an admission of guilt. It was the response of a wounded heart. Aliyah's immediate assumptions weren't love. They were fear masquerading as protection. Real love requires vulnerability, the courage to ask difficult questions, and the humility to admit when we're wrong. It demands that we fight our insecurities rather than project them onto our partners. If you find yourself in a similar situation, remember, speak before you assume, ask before you accuse, and trust before you destroy. The relationship you save might be your own, because in the end, the most tragic breakups aren't caused by lack of love, they're caused by lack of communication.